Delta is continuing to pick up. It's getting better and better. I wouldn't classify it as good just yet, but it's getting better and better. The real news for this week is what happened out at the BBT tournament down or up at Clear Lake. Had some big sacks come in. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Delta. I've got some news for Pedro today for you. We'll get into all that, but before we do, let's take a look at a few pictures, then we'll get into the report. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly report for February 5th. We'll go over really just a little bit of river business, then we're going to get into the reports. I got some fun stuff for you in the report. So literally all that's going on this in the coming week is we got Rob out at the Bass Hole. He's having his first team tournament out at Oralwood. That's Sunday, I believe February 8th. Check on his website, but this weekend is going to be Rob's first team tournament. Also want to hit up Rob's swap meet coming up March 1st. So those are the things you have to know. Everything else can wait until next week, and I want to get right into the report. We're going to start with Clear Lake. BBT had their tournament up there last weekend. Took 45.16 pounds to win it. 45 pounds to win. They had a 13.7 kicker. They had 2 bags over 40 pounds. They had 4 bags over 30 pounds in that tournament. Top 10, everybody in the top 10 had over 20 pounds. And that sounds great, but you know, when I talked to Dave out at Clear Lake Outdoors, and I got a good report from him, and you know, it wasn't all peaches and cream for everyone. There were a few guys that did very well, but primarily the guys that, you know, were not in the top 10 just didn't do that well. So I asked him what was going on. How'd the guys get the 45-pound bag? Forward-facing sonar, hover strolling. The guys that were looking for big fish were not catching a lot of fish. They were using that forward-facing sonar. Dave was saying they were only fishing to the big fish. They didn't care about catching 15, 18, 20 pounds. They knew it was going to take a lot more than that to win it. So the guys that really did well, they only cast to the big fish, and once again, this is starting to become a broken record for Clear Lake. If you don't have forward-facing sonar, it's going to be tough to win tournaments. So with that, I asked Dave, how'd the other guys do? How's it going just for the guys that are out there fishing? Everyone's catching fish. If you get out there and you want to run the banks, you can throw you know, jerk baits are the number one bait. You're going to catch, I'll say, 15 to 25 fish. Most of those fish are going to be 1 to 4 pounds, and you can still go out there and catch fish. You know, for the bite with those 40 pound plus bags, they had 2 days before a full moon. They had cloud cover the night before, so maybe the fish didn't really feed at night like they usually do on a full moon. Everything kind of lined up, and it was great for getting those just massive bags. But you know, if you go up there, don't expect to get 45 pounds, but you can catch quite a few fish, decent numbers, throwing jerk baits, underspins, small swim baits, things like that. And I also asked Dave, I said, my question was, did this forward-facing sonar, and these guys that are hover strolling are throwing 4 to 6 inch minnow type imitations, has hover strolling taken over what used to be the big bait bite? And he says, this time of year, yes, because they have such a population of shad that about 80% of the fish in the lake are looking for shad. But come March or so, right in there, you're going to see the big bait bite come on. Then there's going to be these guys throwing the big swim baits and having fun out there doing that. So forward-facing sonar did not kill the big bait bite, but as soon as those hitch and the, you know, the bigger fish or the bigger bait fish start moving around, they'll come out and the big bait bite will happen. With that, we're going to move right over to Don Pedro. My Don Pedro report kind of fell in the water, so this might be a soggy report. I talked to Aaron Jones out at Central Valley Bait and Tackle, and he's saying that Don Pedro is good. Decent numbers. There's lots of dead water, so you have to move around quite a bit. But when you find fish, you slow down and you will catch good numbers of fish. Most of the fish are in about 15 to 30 feet of water. Contact bottom bouncing baits are what's doing it. A lot of jigs, drop shot. If you get a deep diving crankbait and you're bumping bottom, you're going to catch fish out there. The lake is 83%. It's been holding steady the last week or two, so all the conditions are good. He's expecting it's going to do nothing but get better and better. With that, I think I better put this to rest, and we'll put that down, and let's get right into what's going on with the California Delta out here. Stripers, people are catching stripers. There's just not a lot of interest in it. More and more bass fishermen are talking about going out, catching bass when they're trying to catching stripers when they're fishing for bass. A lot of those fish are small. The guys that are catching legal size stripers out here are all drifting live bait. The bluegill fishing has not been fantastic, and I'm only saying that is because everybody that I have talked to that is out trying to catch bait says it's been much harder to catch bait, the bluegill, for getting out and fishing for the striper. So if you come out here, if you have a place to go out and get some, buy some golden shiners or some big jumbo minnows, you might want to grab a few of those, because it's been a little bit hard to get live bait out here just fishing for bluegill. But if the sun stays out long enough, those bluegill are going to come out, and they're going to be easy to pick up. So there are fish out here just drifting around live bait. You'll probably come out and catch a few fish. Haven't talked to anybody that's really been fishing out around Frank's Track or anything. Everyone that I've been talking to has been fishing out of Paradise Point or Ladd's, and they're staying pretty close to the Central Delta, right in that area. The river is really starting to come into shape. I'm getting in the Central Delta 3 to 5 feet of visibility. If I get up into a slough or something, even more, you might get 5, 6, 7 feet of visibility. I talked to Rob Cloutier out at the Bass Hole. He said Frank's Track is still muddy, about 2 feet of water, 2 feet of visibility. I can also say that around here, our water is turning from that brownish color to a green color. So everything is looking good out here. There's quite a bit of surface vegetation, debris in the water. So when you get out here, if you haven't been out here, you're going to see a lot of stuff out there. So just slow down. Most of it is harmless. It's tules and it's broken up surface vegetation, but there are a few logs and things like that you don't want to hit. So the river is looking good. First report I got from last week was from Christian Ostrander. Christian hasn't been on the river a lot, but now he's back in town, and he will be guiding. So if you guys want to take a trip with Christian, you can get a hold of Christian. I'll have his number up in the comments. On his first trip out, he had a 20-pound plus bag for his clients. His trick was basically using worms, and everything that he got was in the afternoon. And that is one common thing that all of the good reports that I have been getting have been not in the morning, but in the afternoon, from about 2 until 5:30, 2 till dark. You want to get out here, and that's been that incoming high tide. That's been the trick for getting fish this last week. Coach Ted has been out. He's starting to pick up 3, 4, 5 fish a day, up to about 3-4 pounds. He is catching his fish on, what the heck did Ted say he was getting his fish on? Drop shot. He's drop shotting. I talked to one of my dock buddies who has been out working and working and working. I've got to get this guy's name. He's been working hard and just not picking up anything. I talked to him, I think Monday. He came out and he ended up with 3 or 4 fish up to about 4 pounds. So not doing anything different. It's just the fish are starting to chew a little bit more. What would I rate the fishing out here? I would say 2 weeks ago it was bad. A week ago it was bad with signs of perking up. Now we're going to call it fair. And I'll call it fair, and if you're out here at the right day, the right time, you're fishing late afternoon, it's going to be fair to fair plus. If I was going to tell you what I've been doing out here, I've been struggling. I know Rob's been struggling. A lot of the guys that I know that are pretty darn good fishermen are still struggling out here. But guess what? I've got a couple of friends that I pre-recorded a little video for us. I'm going to turn it over to Brian and Steve. These guys have been killing it for the last month. They're the two that have picked up that 22.9 pound bag to win the Thursday night tournament a couple weeks ago. So let's check out Brian and Steve, and they're going to give you some hints on what they've been doing to catch fish out here. All right, this week I have a couple of special guests. I got Brian Baldani. Raise your hand, Brian. And Steve Boz.
Brian Badali, Steve Bosrock.
Yeah, maybe I just have you guys introduce yourself.
Yeah,
Brian
okay.
and Steve. And if you haven't caught our full-length video, Brian and Steve were the two, I'll call you gentlemen for right now. If you do it again, I probably won't be calling you that. But they had the 22.9 pound bag to win the Thursday night tournament a couple weeks ago. They were second last week with a 18. What'd you guys have a couple days ago? 1733. And they're here today to let you know what's going on the Delta, and they're going to give you some advice on what's happening here. I've been talking about, the fishing's getting better and better. So Steve, why don't you tell them, for a weekend angler coming out this weekend, what should he expect? What would you suggest he put on and start with?
I'd suggest you find a spot and you work it really hard. You slow down, use your Senkos, use your worms, be a little more methodical with your movement of your baits, maybe even dead stick them. Slow roll your reaction baits.
Are you looking for any clarity of water, or you don't care?
This time of year, I'm either looking for clean water or I'm looking for the dirtiest water I can find on the bank.
Okay, that's pretty. Either you're looking for real clean water or real dirty water. Is that for what's your reasoning behind that?
Reasoning behind the dirty water is it tends to hold, I think, more bait. It tends to hold more heat this time of year up on the bank. So when you get up on that shallow flat against those rocks and mud or whatnot, that dirtier water is going to hold a little more heat, and it's going to allow these fish to want to move up a little more and feed.
Okay. What color would you suggest?
I'm going with reds. I got to stick with reds in the beginning of the year, January, February, so on and so forth. And not light colored reds. We're talking darker colors whenever that water gets a little colder.
Okay. So primarily fishing crawdad colors.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Brian? What are you looking for out here?
So my theory is I find a spot, I fish about a mile stretch and kind of look for the fish. If I find a fish, obviously depending on clarity, I like clear, I like dirty. If it's dirty, that'll tell me to throw darker colors, of course. If it's clear, I'll go with lighter colors. And red's my color right now, red, white.
Are you also throwing worms, or what are you throwing?
Yeah, I'm throwing worms and reaction, chatterbaits, pretty much anything I can. I'm slow reeling the reaction baits, just really slow, letting them drag and just waiting for that thump to hit them. And then I'm throwing Senkos and, a little punch and flip in here and there, just trying to find a pattern. And as soon as if they hit, let's say they're hitting my black and blue Senko, it's hard for me to let that down. So I just keep it in hand and I stick with that and a mixture of, let's say, the red chatterbait that they're hitting.
What tide are you guys looking for?
Tide, we're whatever the day starts off with, really. If we're starting off with a low tide, we're moving out to some of the deeper pockets, the outside weed lines, and then as the day goes on, if this is the case where the tide's coming up, we're looking at the high tide and we're watching the switch, we're watching the water movement, and making sure that's rolling good for us.
Is that your plan also, Brian?
Yeah, it's same exact thing. We kind of stick to that theory, and it's been working out. I've been doing a little better fishing deeper this last year and this new year. Before we got into Christmas, I did something I haven't done in a couple of years, and I've been grinding hard I haven't been doing this for a long time. I've been doing tournaments, maybe hardcore, for the past 3 years, and I went from catching 3-4 pounders to 5-6 pounders, and then before Christmas I was getting 8-9 pounders.
What was the secret?
The secret was that clear mind. And believe it or not, I cleared my mind. I was going same areas that I was catching 3-pounders. I pulled 8-9-pounders.
So did that allow you to slow down because you weren't
Big
trying to get
time.
happy feet like a quarterback in the pocket
Big
that's
time.
thinking, okay.
Big time.
Okay.
I slowed my game down, even though if they want that faster reaction, I still slowed it down. I even slowed my reels down. I went from throwing 7s to 6 for my reaction. Everybody likes different stuff. Everybody fishes it different. But yeah, slowing down, clearer mind. Doesn't matter if it's the same area or not. I've improved the sizes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotcha. So maybe you guys can agree with me or disagree, but it sounds like if you go out there, it's low tide, start on the outside in a little deeper water, and as the tide is coming up, and this time of year it floods up, you can see it now, we're coming up high tide behind us, those fish are going from the deep water, they're pushing up into very shallow water, so you guys just follow them up there, maybe reaction baits on the outside, and as they move up into shallower water, worms, jigs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a plan?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, we sometimes we'll run up and we'll, as the water moves up, we'll throw worms and stuff, and they don't want it. Then we'll throw the reaction and just slow drag it, and they'll want that instead. Just depending on what they want at that time.
Okay. And Brian, you've got a YouTube channel. Let them know what your YouTube channel is, how they can get a hold of you.
My YouTube channel is Fisher Go Home ENT. I'll be dropping a lot of content this year, and I'm mostly active on Instagram under Fisher Go Home. Everything's pretty much Fisher Go Home, even my website. So if you guys want to check it out, like, subscribe, I highly appreciate it. And also, if you have any questions or want to reach out on Instagram to me. I'll be more than happy to let you guys know.
And I'll have that information in the remarks if you guys want to get a hold of Brian. How about you, Steve? If you don't recognize Steve, Steve is the director for the Lunkers tournament, the Monday night tournament here on the Delta. So Steve, let them know how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah. Big Money Mondays out of Tracy Oasis. You can get a hold of me at lta.fishing across all your social media platforms. If you want to shoot me a DM, I'll always answer that for you. You can always give me a call, 925-325-6720. Also lunkerstournament.com. If you have any other questions, you're out and about, Tracy Oasis will have all the information there as well.
All right.
We're going to be starting our opener March 30th this year. Blast off will be 2 p.m., $100 buy-in, 100% payback, and we've got a bunch of new sponsors willing to give baits. Come on out, check us out.
I'm going to try to get out there and maybe interview some of the guys out there and make the rounds out at that tournament this year. So I want to thank you guys for sharing some information. Let's get back to the report, and we'll finish this whole thing up. Thanks a lot, guys.
Anytime.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, guys.
Okay. All right, I want to thank Brian and Steve, and with that, you guys know what's going on out here. It's not in full gear, but everything is looking good. As long as we get stable weather and stable barometer conditions, everything's going to continue to keep warming up, and the fishing is just going to get better day by day. And hopefully next week, I'm going to be able to come in here and tell you that it's just not fair, but it's fair to good. It's going to be gradual, but it's getting better and better. So hopefully we're looking for better fishing, and next week, who knows? Report might be the first good one that we've had in a long time. So thank you guys for watching, and go out there, have fun, be safe. If you catch a fish, send me some information, send me a picture, and I'll put it up on the weekly report. Thanks for watching.